Beer, boots, brushes, bricks, and Baptists. They sound like five completely unrelated things, but together they tell the whole story of one English town. I've come to Chesham today to see whether those five words are still visible in the streets today. Right, so I've just parked up and arrived, and this is Chesham. Conveniently, this is at the end of the London's Metropolitan line, and first impressions, it looks like a normal shopping town. I mean, you can see it's got just some markets on just at the back there. Lovely church just to my right. And that looks absolutely amazing. As nice as that is, I'm gonna use the 5Bs to work out what town Chesham is really like. I've just come across this statue and it looks absolutely amazing. This is for young men from this town that lost their lives between 1914 and 1918, I believe. And it just, honestly, it just looks absolutely picturesque. I'm actually remarkably fascinated. I didn't expect it to look so modern. I guess this is what gentrification looks like. When we're talking about the 16th, 17th, 18th centuries, this is not what I was expecting, if I'm being quite honest. First bee on our stop is beer, and this is the right place to start because this market square was once crowded with inns and a plethora of public houses. In around 1900s, Chesham had around 80 pubs for a population of only around 8,000 people. 6 stood within roughly 30 yards of this very square. I know you're thinking that sounds excessive now, but pubs were not only drinking places, they were meeting rooms, places to hear news, arrange work, rest horses, and do vital business. This absolutely amazing clock tower marks the site of the old market hall. So for me, it's clear that beer and trade were sitting right beside each other in the centre of this town. Chesham was not only built as a tourist town, it was a place where people came to buy, sell, work, and socialise. Bustling isn't one of our B's today, but honestly, that's a word that I'm going to use straight away. There's people everywhere. Everybody's selling something and everybody's just out enjoying the good weather. I must say, I do have to congratulate the brickwork. Not a brick is out of place, and it really does go with the aesthetic of the town. Really, really fascinating, to be honest. The second B here is brushes. And this is the kind of clue you could easily walk past any day of the week without even realising it's here. On the site of what you can see the Cafe Nero is now, Robert Webb & Company opened what is recorded as Chesham's first brush factory in around 1829. What looks like an ordinary high street business is sitting on a story about raw materials, skilled hands and practical objects used in homes all across Britain. The high street feels modern at eye level, but honestly, that building is the most remarkable I've seen. Parts of this date back to the 1400s, and you can just see how original it still looks with the painted colour. They've tried to keep this as original as they possibly can, I suppose. A bit of a fun fact for everyone. The stagecoach journey from here to London took roughly about 5 hours. Today, the Underground makes Chesham feel like part of London, but the street belonged to much slower network of horses, inns and market journeys. What I have noticed is these newer retail businesses that I don't know, from the research that I've done, this building isn't that old. For me, they've tried to make it look as old as possible. I don't know if that's misleading. I don't know if that's business acumen, but it's rather interesting. I'm not entirely sure what anyone else thinks about the war in Palestine or the atrocities that we're seeing, but mine is free Palestine. This is El Giva Lane, and the next B brings us right here, which is boots. Chesham did not have a cobbler or two. At one point, it had around 16 boot factories on this very site. The Reynolds factory nearby employed about 120 people, and around 1889, I think, was producing roughly 2,000 pairs of boots each week from this very location. Beer shows the social town. Brushes and boots show the working town, workshops, factory labour, shop fronts and families whose weekly lives were organised around making things. On this channel, we like looking at the parking prices of the towns we visit just to see if we're going to need to take out a second or possibly third mortgage. But here, all day, £1.30 on a Sunday and a bank holiday, up to 3 hours for £2.30. Honestly, yeah, not too bad if you ask me. Bricks is sometimes added as Chesham's fifth B. It is slightly different from boots and brushes because much of the brick and tile making happened in the clay country around the town. Here though, the product becomes the town itself. This gatehouse was built in around the 1600s. Its timber frame was later hidden behind a shop front, and dated bricks can be found still in this courtyard today. You can probably see the differences there. You've got the timber just there, and you've still got some of the original brickwork from that time in history. What I find actually surprising is for a small town like this, you don't find a lot of independent shops. I mean, this is an example of one of them, and it's closed down. But there isn't a host of independent shops. I've seen a couple of barber shops and stuff like that. But apart from that, it's really the large chains are out here. Final B, for anyone who hasn't guessed it yet, is Baptists. The present Broadway Baptist Church you can see was built in around 1901, but one of its foundation stones remembers an earlier General Baptist chapel established in about 1712. Honestly, that's why the 5 Bs really work as a story. 4 describe a practical manufacturing town. The 5th describes the independent belief, community organisation, and a willingness to create institutions outside the established church. By the late 19th century, Baptists were so strong in Chesham that the town had 4 Baptist churches. Later, Methodists reportedly described Chesham as a problem because there were already so many churches and so little room for another denomination. If you enjoyed today's video, please do consider giving it a like. And if you like uncovering the towns we visit on a weekly basis and seeing what history there is to offer, please do consider subscribing to the channel. But until next time, adios.